You know me as the founder of both Judicial Watch and Freedom Watch, former Senate candidate in Florida. You can read about my biography at freedomwatchusa.org or larryclayman.com. I don't endorse anyone with regard to political office because I run a nonprofit. I don't tell people who to vote for, but I will tell you the facts of life. And the facts of life with regard to Kamala Harris are terrible facts of life. This woman is a total fraud. She stands for nothing. She's not intelligent. She failed the bar exam when she tried to take it in California. Now she claims she's the super prosecutor, former AG. And I thought that her attacks on Donald Trump the other day, calling him a sexual predator, calling him a fraudster, calling him everything else, ironically, most of it could blow back onto her. But she is also the one who participated in the biggest fraud in American political history, telling the American people from day one, even in the 2020 elections, that Biden was capable of being president, that he wasn't mentally and physically debilitated to the point that he couldn't perform. And of course, we know what happened since then. The country has huge inflation. The average person can't afford food. They can't afford anything, really. Gasoline going up again. Occasionally it goes down because he releases oil irresponsibly from our petroleum reserve, which is meant for national emergencies. Across the border, we had drug traffickers, human traffickers, sex traffickers. Kamala Harris was the czar of the border. She did nothing. She never even visited the border, and then cackled when asked why not. She said, well, I haven't visited Europe either. That was at that point in time. Of course, she did later for her own pleasure. The use of the Justice Department. She was vice president as a Gestapo against peaceful protesters from January 6th and to quell all dissent otherwise. Pushing concepts, lifestyles onto kids that have no business being pushed onto kids, thinking that's great, that's fun. You know, let kids alone. I don't care whether you're heterosexual or homosexual, you deserve rights, but don't push it on other people. That's not right, particularly kids who are very impressionable. And then, of course, national security. She knows nothing about national security. She goes over to Ukraine, talks like she's talking to a child with regard to the president of Poland, and says, Ukraine is a very big country. It is being invaded by Russia. This is bad. I mean, this is Kamala Harris. So this is the person who the Democrats have inserted into the race against Donald Trump. Make no mistake about it. Anybody that challenges her will be called a racist. That's why they did it. And this is certainly a threat to this country. I'm telling you, bottom line. So what have we done at Freedom Watch? We bring cases, we just don't get documents. I filed a lawsuit yesterday, amended a complaint, where Kamala Harris is joined as a defendant for defrauding the people of Florida and getting on the ballot in 2020, along with Joe Biden, which gave rise to them being elected president and vice president, asking that she be barred from being put on the ballot in 2024 because she committed fraud on the people of Florida and fraud on the people of the United States. And what is the fraud again? The fraud is that Joe Biden was capable of being president. He's not. You might remember, even back in the months leading up to the 2020 elections, that Joe Biden was not seen in public to any great degree. Everything was done from his basement in his home in Delaware or elsewhere. They wouldn't let him out, and they don't want to let him out now. The man has virtually destroyed this country. We're on our knees. There's not much that can be said. And yesterday, he allows these radical terrorist-related people to start burning the flag in Washington, D.C., defacing monuments. He could have certainly had them arrested. I mean, he is the president of the United States. Of course, the mayor of Washington, D.C. is a complete leftist political hack, as nearly everybody else is in that disgusting city called Washington, D.C. We need to take the capital out of Washington, D.C. I've said that many times. Let's let the criminals commit crimes against each other. Let the two clowns, so to speak, of each political party raise money and have fun, and we're out of there as people who care about this country. It is time to rise up. Our Third Continental Congress, go to freedomwatchusa.org. It's time to declare independence, a new government and not a new nation, with honest people, ethical people, not people that play games. That's what we've got today. Court jesters on both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, in it for themselves, not in it for the American people. And I often say this, you know, the French king, Louis XVI, and his lovely queen, quote unquote, Marie Antoinette, said, "Après moi le déluge," after me the flood. After me, to the people of France, I couldn't give a flying you know what, because we're going to cash in. Well, they were taken to the guillotines, and we know what happened to them, along with all the nobility there. We don't want to see that happen here. We don't want to see violence. We don't want to see anybody hurt. But I'll tell you something, the way this country's going, whether Trump's elected or whether she's elected, we're walking into a civil war. So remember, you have your Second Amendment rights, arm up, don't use it offensively, but get ready to protect your family when it's necessary, because this country is coming unglued one way or the other. And that's my message. You need a Freedom Watch. You need a Larry Klayman. You need someone who's not afraid. You need somebody to be your real Justice Department to bring about not just the truth, but also to prosecute those criminals that have so destroyed this nation. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are criminals. That's what they are, and they need to be held accountable. And this is not going to be a phony effort. It's going to be a real effort. And we've also started a citizens grand jury for Kimberly Cheedy, or whatever her name was, of the Secret Service. Do not think that that assassination of Donald Trump just happened by accident. Is that the Biden regime, through the Secret Service, through the FBI, we saw the disgraceful performance of the director, Christopher Wray, yesterday, who even said, Biden's in great health. I never saw anything like that. I mean, the guy is a total chameleon. He's a worthless zero. He is a criminal as well. They created the condition for Donald Trump to be killed. They opened the doors, the floodgates, for someone like this kid to take a shot at him. And this so-called regime knew that the Iranians had sent a hit squad to kill Donald Trump. There should have been maximum security, but they didn't do it. And it is not a conspiracy theory. You know what SHIT happens, ladies and gentlemen, excuse the French. They wanted Donald Trump to be killed. That's the bottom line. Let's call it like it is. Let's call it straight up. And they have blood on their hands one way or the other. And don't think they're not going to try again in a way that keeps their fingerprints off of an attempted assassination. I think you can probably expect something like this in the future, God forbid. So that's my message for today. Our government is totally corrupt to the core, does not represent the American people. The Republicans don't know how to address it. Trump may try to do something, but you can see what's going to happen if he gets elected. The country will be going up in flames. So get ready to protect yourself defensively. And we'll be there right with you every step of the way. And we will restore this country to greatness. We will restore this country to the rule of law. We can do it together, but you can't be a couch potato. You can't sit there, put your feet up on the coffee table, drink martinis or vodka or whatever, or smoke marijuana or take other drugs and say, hey, I'm out of here. You know, I'm just going to ride it out, particularly if you're retired. I'll be dead before anything happens. No, think about your kids, grandkids, and future generations. And if you're middle-aged or young, you better do something now, because you're going to have no country. Go to freedomwatchusa.org, join our Justice League, contribute to our cause with tax-deductible contributions. We need to get bigger. We need more lawyers. We need more paralegals, and we need to fend off the left through bar associations that are trying to eliminate conservative lawyers like me and others because they don't want any opposition in court. We live in a virtual dictatorship run by the left, and do not think it's going to change, whether Donald Trump's elected or not. We need to do it for ourselves, and that's my message. Remember, the Father and Son will protect us only if we protect ourselves. I'll be back tomorrow with another special podcast. Thank you for listening to me. Go to freedomwatchusa.org and see this complaint that we filed against Kamala Harris, among many other things that we're doing, hard-hitting things, on behalf of you, the American people. And I want to thank you for your support. I want to thank you for your prayers, because we all need that today. With the divine providence of God, we will restore this country to the vision and creation of our founding fathers. Thank you for listening to me.